I carried the weight of his betrayal like a physical burden, a constant ache in my chest. Each morning, the first thought was of what he had done, and it shadowed every interaction, every small moment of happiness. It felt like a part of me was actively decaying from the inside out. The moment I discovered his deceit, a chasm opened between us, swallowing years of shared laughter and intimate promises. My heart physically ached with the sharp, sudden blow of violated trust. It was as if our entire history had been rewritten, poisoned by his actions. This unforgiveness wasn't just about him, it was destroying me. I found myself snapping at friends, unable to fully engage with my children, and constantly irritable. The joy seemed to have been sucked out of my life, replaced by a festering wound that refused to heal. I was losing myself to the very pain I clung to. I became an expert at building walls, not just around my heart for him, but for everyone else too. The fear of being hurt again, of trusting and being betrayed, paralyzed me. I chose isolation over vulnerability, believing it was protection. But it was just a different kind of prison. One night, after hours of staring at the ceiling, replaying every painful memory, I broke. The tears flowed, not just for the betrayal, but for the person I was becoming. I was exhausted, depleted, and utterly miserable. That night, I knew I couldn't live like this anymore. Something had to fundamentally shift. A dear friend, seeing my despair, gently suggested that forgiveness wasn't about excusing his actions, but about freeing myself. She spoke of how holding onto resentment was like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Her words, though initially jarring, planted a tiny seed of hope within my hardened heart. This was my aha moment. Forgiveness wasn't a gift I gave him. It was a gift I gave myself. It was about choosing to release the emotional burden, to stop letting his past actions dictate my present happiness. It aligned with psychological research on emotional regulation and the profound impact of chronic resentment on well-being. The journey began not with a grand gesture, but with quiet introspection. I allowed myself to fully acknowledge the depth of my pain, to sit with the anger and the sadness without judgment. I journaled, cried, and processed the raw emotions I had tried to bury. This validation of my own suffering was crucial. Then came the much harder step, trying to understand, not excuse, his actions. I tried to consider his background, his own insecurities, the pressures he might have faced. It wasn't about absolving him, but about recognizing his flawed humanity, just as I had my own. This didn't diminish my pain, but it broadened my perspective. The shift wasn't sudden. It was a conscious decision each day to interrupt the cycle of rumination. When a bitter memory surfaced, I would acknowledge it, then gently redirect my thoughts to something positive in my present. These small, consistent acts of letting go gradually chipped away at the stronghold of resentment. I began to rewrite my personal narrative. I was no longer just the person who had been betrayed. I was the person who chose healing, who chose peace, who chose to move forward. This reclaiming of my story was incredibly empowering, shifting me from a passive recipient of pain to an active architect of my well-being. Forgiveness didn't mean allowing him back into my life in the same way, or even at all. It meant establishing healthy boundaries that protected my emotional well-being. I learned the crucial difference between building walls that imprisoned me and setting boundaries that honored my self-respect and safety. As I grew in forgiving him, I also grew in compassion for myself. I recognized my own flaws and past mistakes, understanding that we are all imperfect beings navigating a complex world. This self-compassion then naturally extended outwards, making me a more understanding and gentle person in all my relationships. The anger, once a raging fire, dwindled to embers, then to ash. A profound sense of inner peace settled within me, a quiet joy that was no longer dependent on external circumstances. I could sleep soundly, wake up without the immediate dread, and truly appreciate the beauty in my everyday life. It was a lightness I hadn't felt in years. Today, the memory of his betrayal no longer holds power over me. It's a scar, a reminder of a past wound, but no longer an open, festering sore. My heart is healed, not because I forgot, but because I chose to release the burden of unforgiveness. The ultimate boon is a healed heart, capable of loving fully and living freely. I am no longer a prisoner of my past. My present moments are vibrant and cherished, free from the dark cloud of resentment. The future, once a source of anxiety, now feels expansive and full of possibility, because I've learned that true freedom comes from within. This journey of forgiveness didn't just heal my heart, it transformed all my relationships. With my emotional walls down, I could finally connect with others on a deeper, more authentic level. My empathy grew, and I found myself capable of offering grace to others, just as I had learned to offer it to myself. The inner peace I cultivated has become my anchor. When life presents new challenges or disappointments, I approach them with a newfound resilience, knowing I have the power within me to navigate complexity and choose my emotional response. This is my true power, hard-won and deeply cherished. My story now serves as a testament to the transformative power of forgiveness. I share my journey not to boast, but to offer hope to anyone trapped in the same emotional prison I once inhabited. The ripple effect of choosing peace has extended beyond me, touching those I love, and hopefully inspiring others to embark on their own healing path. If you are carrying the heavy burden of unforgiveness, Know this: your freedom is within reach. It's a journey, not a destination. But one step towards releasing that pain is a step towards reclaiming your life, your joy, and your profound inner peace. Choose to forgive, not for them, but for the beautiful, radiant future awaiting you.